The 18th of November, 1963, 8:47 p.m., Brooklyn, New York. Joe Gallo was watching The Ed Sullivan Show in his living room when the light suddenly flickered and went out, plunging his house into complete darkness. Within minutes, there was a knock at his front door, a uniformed electrician from Con Edison, holding a clipboard and wearing the company's official badge, explaining that there had been reports of power outages in the neighborhood, and he needed to check the electrical system to prevent dangerous power surges that could cause fires or equipment damage. What Joe didn't know was that the electrician standing at his door was actually Vincent Torino, one of Lucky Luciano's most trusted assassins, and that the power outage had been deliberately caused to create the perfect opportunity for elimination through what would appear to be a tragic electrical accident. Within 30 minutes, Joe Gallo would be dead from electrocution, and the official cause would be listed as accidental death due to faulty wiring. Exactly as Lucky Luciano had planned from beyond the grave through the most sophisticated utility company assassination operation ever devised. To understand how Lucky Luciano's organization transformed New York's electrical infrastructure into a weapon for systematic elimination, you need to understand the unique advantages that utility companies possessed for conducting criminal operations in 1960s America. Electric companies had legal authority to enter any building at any time under the pretext of safety inspections or emergency repairs, making them completely above suspicion when deaths occurred during their service calls. More importantly, electrical systems were so complex and potentially dangerous that deaths from electrocution were readily accepted as unfortunate accidents rather than investigated as potential homicides. The electrical utility industry also provided perfect cover for assassination operations because power outages and electrical failures were common occurrences that created legitimate reasons for emergency service calls, and because electricians possessed detailed knowledge of how electrical systems could be manipulated to cause fatal accidents that would leave no evidence of criminal activity. Lucky realized that an electrical company operation could provide the ultimate combination of access, technical capability, and legal protection for elimination activities, because electrical work naturally involved life-threatening hazards that made accidental deaths completely believable to investigators and the public. The inspiration for Lucky's electrical assassination strategy came from his understanding of how electrical systems could be weaponized through deliberate manipulation of power distribution, wiring configurations, and safety systems in ways that would cause fatal electrocution while appearing to be the result of equipment failure or maintenance errors. Lucky had been developing this electrical elimination concept since early 1962, recognizing that utility companies offered unprecedented opportunities for systematic assassination that could strike anywhere in the city through methods that were virtually undetectable and completely beyond suspicion from law enforcement or regulatory authorities. The establishment of Lucky's electrical empire required extensive preparation and over $5 million in initial investment that was channeled through his international criminal network and laundered through legitimate utility industry contracts and municipal infrastructure projects that made the electrical operation appear to be routine commercial expansion. The electrical operation was structured through Metropolitan Power Solutions, a legitimate electrical contracting company that secured municipal contracts and utility partnerships, while establishing service territories and emergency response capabilities that provided perfect cover for Lucky's criminal activities. Meyer Lansky coordinated the technical aspects of the electrical operation, working through established connections in New York's utility industry to obtain the necessary licenses, regulatory approvals, and equipment access required for large-scale electrical services and emergency response operations. Frank Costello managed the recruitment and training of electrical workers, ensuring that key personnel could conduct elimination operations while maintaining the appearance of providing professional utility services to customers who were unaware of the company's criminal purposes. The electrical company featured all the standard utility services: power line maintenance, emergency repairs, safety inspections, and new installation work. But the operation also incorporated specialized assassination capabilities that could transform routine service calls into deadly encounters for targeted customers. Each service vehicle was equipped with modified electrical equipment that could cause controlled electrocution, specialized tools for manipulating building electrical systems to create fatal hazards, and portable power generation equipment that could be used to stage electrical accidents in any location. The electrical dispatch system was designed to provide legitimate utility services to ordinary customers, while maintaining special protocols for targeted eliminations that could be activated when specific individuals reported power problems or requested electrical services. Most importantly, the electrical operations documentation system was designed to create legitimate service records that would satisfy any potential investigation, while concealing the true nature of service calls that resulted in customer deaths rather than successful electrical repairs. The recruitment of qualified electrical workers required careful selection of individuals who possessed the necessary technical skills, while being vulnerable to recruitment for criminal activities through financial incentives, legal problems, or personal circumstances that made them dependent on Lucky's organization. Vincent Torino was recruited as the primary assassination specialist for Lucky's electrical operation. Torino was a 31-year-old licensed electrician with 12 years of experience in New York's utility industry. But he was also struggling with legal problems related to a manslaughter conviction that had been suspended through Lucky's legal connections. Torino's recruitment was accomplished through Lucky's associates, who approached him with an offer to resolve his legal difficulties while providing him with a lucrative position at a new electrical company that would specialize in emergency services and premium customer support for New York's business community. Torino was initially unaware that Metropolitan Power Solutions would be used for criminal purposes, but his legal vulnerabilities and professional skills made him increasingly receptive to requests for services that went beyond normal electrical work. The transition from legitimate electrical services to elimination operations was gradual, beginning with requests for Torino to provide information about how electrical systems could malfunction, how electrocution accidents occurred, and how electrical work could be used to access buildings and gain the trust of potential victims. As Torino became more comfortable with information sharing, the requests became more specific and more obviously connected to criminal planning. Torino was asked to explain how electrical accidents could be staged, how building power systems could be manipulated to create fatal hazards, and how electrical service calls could provide opportunities for activities that had nothing to do with utility services. Anthony Romano was recruited as Torino's partner and technical specialist for complex elimination operations. Romano was a 28-year-old electrical engineer who had experience with power distribution systems and industrial electrical equipment, making him ideally qualified for operations that required sophisticated technical manipulation of electrical infrastructure. Maria Benedetto was recruited to manage the electrical company's dispatch and customer service operations. Benedetto's position allowed her to coordinate elimination assignments with service calls and customer requests, ensuring that targeted individuals would receive visits from electricians who were prepared to conduct elimination operations rather than provide legitimate electrical services. The electrical elimination operations began with detailed surveillance and preparation that identified target individuals, analyzed their electrical systems, and building access points, and developed specific elimination plans that would ensure successful electrocution while maintaining the appearance of accidental death during routine electrical service. Joe Gallo's elimination was planned as the inaugural operation for Lucky's electrical assassination program. Gallo was a volatile Brooklyn crime boss who had been challenging the established order within New York organized crime and creating instability that threatened the systematic business operations that Lucky's successors were trying to maintain after his death in January 1962. Gallo was intelligent, paranoid, and normally well protected by security measures that made traditional assassination attempts extremely difficult to execute successfully. However, Gallo's personal security protocols did not extend to utility service workers, whom he regarded as harmless municipal employees rather than potential threats. The operation against Joe Gallo was initiated through Metropolitan Power Solutions Customer Service Department, which had been monitoring electrical usage patterns and service histories for buildings where targeted individuals lived or conducted regular business activities. The electrical company arranged for a controlled power outage in Gallo's neighborhood on the 18th of November 1963 by manipulating utility grid controls to create electrical system failures that would appear to be routine infrastructure problems requiring emergency service calls. The power outage was timed to occur during evening hours when Gallo would be at home and when electrical service calls would appear to be urgent emergency responses rather than suspicious visits that might alert him to potential danger. Vincent Torino arrived at Gallo's house at 8:50 p.m., driving a standard Metropolitan Power Solutions service truck that was indistinguishable from other utility vehicles and equipped with all the tools and equipment that would be expected for emergency electrical repairs. Torino's appearance and behavior were carefully designed to create confidence and cooperation from Gallo, presenting himself as a professional utility worker who was responding to neighborhood power problems and conducting routine safety checks to prevent electrical hazards. Gallo admitted Torino to his house without suspicion, allowing the electrician complete access to the building's electrical systems. While Gallo returned to his living room to wait for power restoration and continue watching television once electrical service was restored, Torino's elimination procedure was conducted in the basement electrical panel room, where he made specific modifications to the house's wiring system that would create controlled electrocution hazards when Gallo came into contact with specific electrical fixtures or appliances. The electrical modifications were designed to appear as routine repair work while actually creating deadly conditions that would cause fatal electrocution when Gallo touched light switches, electrical outlets, or appliances that had been connected to the manipulated wiring system. Torino's technical approach involved redirecting electrical current through building fixtures in ways that would bypass normal safety systems and ground fault protections, creating conditions where normal household electrical contact would result in fatal electrocution rather than minor electrical shock. The elimination was timed to occur approximately 15 minutes after Torino completed the electrical modifications and left the building, providing him with a clear alibi while ensuring that the electrocution would appear to be an unfortunate accident that occurred after the electrical repair work had been completed. Torino informed Gallo that the electrical repairs were complete and that power would be restored within a few minutes, suggesting that Gallo test various electrical fixtures to ensure that everything was functioning properly after the utility system restoration. Joe Gallo was electrocuted at 9:22 p.m. when he attempted to turn on a table lamp in his living room that had been connected to the manipulated wiring system. The electrical current delivered through the modified system was sufficient to cause immediate cardiac arrest and death within seconds. The electrocution occurred exactly as Torino had calculated, with the electrical current flowing through Gallo's body in patterns that would cause fatal injury, while creating burn patterns and physical evidence that were consistent with accidental electrocution during normal household electrical use. Gallo's body was discovered by his wife when she returned home at 10:15 p.m., finding him collapsed near the table lamp with clear signs of electrical burn injuries and evidence of electrical contact that appeared to be the result of a tragic accident during power restoration. The emergency response by police and medical authorities concluded that Gallo had died from accidental electrocution caused by electrical system problems that had occurred during the neighborhood power outage and subsequent repair work. The investigation by New York Fire Department electrical inspectors found evidence of wiring problems that could have caused electrical hazards, but the problems appeared to be pre-existing conditions that had been aggravated by the power outage rather than deliberate sabotage or criminal activity. Metropolitan Power Solutions provided complete cooperation with the investigation, offering technical expertise and service records that demonstrated professional electrical repair work conducted according to standard utility industry procedures and safety protocols. The company's documentation showed that Torino had followed proper electrical repair procedures and had restored electrical service according to established safety standards, with no indication of negligence or improper work that could have contributed to the subsequent electrical accident. The success of the Joe Gallo elimination operation led to the expansion of Lucky's electrical assassination strategy to target additional crime figures throughout New York who posed threats to his organization's continued operations or could provide valuable assets through elimination and succession procedures. Over the next 18 months, Metropolitan Power Solutions systematically eliminated 29 major crime figures through electrical accidents that appeared to be routine utility system failures, but were actually carefully orchestrated electrocution operations conducted during legitimate electrical service calls. Vincent Rao was eliminated in December 1963 during what appeared to be electrical repair work at his social club, but was actually an operation that resulted in his electrocution through manipulated electrical equipment that created fatal electrical contact during routine building maintenance. Joseph Colombo was eliminated in February 1964 during electrical service work at his restaurant that appeared to be routine commercial electrical maintenance, but was actually an elimination operation that resulted in his death through controlled electrocution during equipment inspection. Albert Anastasia's brother, Michael, was eliminated in April 1964 during home electrical repair work that appeared to be standard residential service, but was actually an operation that resulted in his electrocution through modified household electrical systems. Thomas Aboli was eliminated in June 1964 during electrical work at his nightclub that appeared to be routine commercial electrical upgrades, but was actually an elimination operation that resulted in his death through deliberate electrical system manipulation. By August 1964, Lucky Luciano's electrical operation had eliminated 35 major crime figures, while maintaining Metropolitan Power Solutions as a legitimate utility contractor that generated substantial revenue and maintained excellent safety ratings with municipal regulatory authorities. The electrical operations had also provided Lucky's successors with comprehensive intelligence about the electrical systems, building layouts, and security arrangements of virtually every major crime figure in New York, because electrical service calls naturally provided complete access to buildings and detailed information about occupancy patterns and electrical usage. More importantly, the electrical strategy had created a climate of psychological terror among surviving crime figures who realized that their own homes and businesses could be turned into death traps by utility workers they had no reason to suspect or fear. The psychological impact of the electrical eliminations was particularly devastating because they exploited fundamental dependencies on electrical power and utility services that made it impossible for potential victims to take protective measures without completely abandoning modern urban living. Federal law enforcement agencies investigated the unusual number of electrical accidents involving organized crime figures, but found no evidence of systematic criminal activity, noting that electrical accidents were unfortunately common in older urban buildings with aging electrical systems. The FBI's investigation concluded that the electrical accidents were consistent with normal patterns of building maintenance problems and electrical system failures, rather than evidence of coordinated elimination operations conducted through legitimate utility companies. New York Police Department investigations focused on traditional criminal violence patterns and found no evidence of connections between electrical accidents and organized crime conflicts, noting that the deaths appeared to be purely accidental and unrelated to criminal activities. Electrical safety investigations by municipal utility authorities found no evidence of negligence or improper work by Metropolitan Power Solutions, noting that the company maintained excellent safety records and compliance with all applicable electrical codes and safety regulations. Insurance investigations examined the pattern of electrical accidents, but found no evidence of fraud or suspicious circumstances, noting that the accidents occurred in buildings with legitimate electrical service histories and resulted in claims that were consistent with accidental electrical deaths. Lucky Luciano's successors had created the perfect elimination system, a legitimate utility service that eliminated enemies while providing essential community services, maintaining regulatory compliance, and generating substantial profits that could be used to fund additional criminal operations. Through this electrical operation, Lucky's legacy continued to influence organized crime elimination methods long after his death, demonstrating that his strategic thinking had created self-sustaining criminal enterprises that could operate effectively without direct management or oversight. The electrical operations established Lucky's posthumous reputation as the most sophisticated criminal strategist in history, someone whose planning capabilities could create elimination systems that continued operating effectively years after his death. Metropolitan Power Solutions continued operating as both a legitimate electrical contractor and a strategic elimination facility throughout the 1960s, with control of the operation maintained by Lucky's designated successors, who preserved the company's dual purpose, while expanding services to include additional utility and infrastructure capabilities. The electrical company's success established the template for criminal operations that exploited essential service relationships and public dependency on utility infrastructure, demonstrating that true criminal power came from the ability to corrupt the basic systems that modern urban society depended upon for survival. Lucky Luciano had proven through his electrical operation that the most effective criminal strategies were often the ones that appeared to serve the public interest, while actually serving the criminal interests of those who controlled them through systematic corruption of trusted institutions. On the 18th of November, 1963, Joe Gallo experienced a power outage that brought an electrician to his door, but instead of restoring electrical service, the visit resulted in Gallo's death through electrocution that appeared to be a tragic accident, but was actually the culmination of Lucky Luciano's most technically sophisticated assassination method. From beyond the grave, Lucky Luciano had demonstrated that true criminal genius lay not just in eliminating enemies, but in creating elimination systems that could operate indefinitely while appearing to serve the community and maintaining complete protection from law enforcement investigation and public suspicion.